All right, let's dive right into this explainer. It really wasn't all that long ago when learning just one solid skill could basically bulletproof your career for decades. The formula was incredibly straightforward, right? You learned accounting, you became an accountant for life. You learned graphic design, you were a designer. You learned to write, you became a writer. Once you got good enough at that one specific thing, you had security, purely because you held something that people needed. But, well, that old world is shifting beneath our feet. Today, a machine can crank out an article in seconds. It can throw together a presentation before you've even finished your morning coffee. It can analyze thousands of legal documents, generate a brand logo, write functional code, answer customer complaints, and edit photos literally in the blink of an eye. And sometimes it can even spit out a first draft of work that took a human being years to learn how to do properly. So, if you're sitting at a desk right now doing the exact same thing you've been doing for the last 5 years, we're looking at a massive paradigm shift.
Which naturally brings up a question a lot of us probably don't want to think about. What actually happens when your hard-earned skill becomes software? But what's really fascinating about this question is how it completely reorients our fear. The biggest threat from AI isn't some dystopian science fiction scenario where machines suddenly become smarter than all of us and take over the world. No, the real, immediate threat is simply that some of the things people get paid good money to do are becoming much, much easier to automate. Think about it. AI replaces tasks, not necessarily people. And when a task gets easier to automate, its economic value totally drops. But here is the absolute crucial part that most people miss, and it's the core of what we're looking at today. AI doesn't automatically make you, the human being, replaceable. It makes certain tasks you do replaceable. Internalizing that specific difference, that could completely change how you view your future career.
Let's look at a classic tale of two workers to really see how this plays out in the real world. Let's call them Alex and Daniel. Now, Alex is basically the perfect employee for the old economy. He's incredibly efficient, he follows instructions flawlessly. Every morning he gets his to-do list, write the report, update the spreadsheet, clear out the inbox, build the slide deck, and he just knocks it all out, quickly and perfectly. Daniel, on the other hand, is a bit different. He's not always faster than Alex. Actually, sometimes he takes way longer. But Daniel has this habit of constantly asking questions. Hey, why are we even sending this report? Why are our customers churning this month? Could we approach this from a totally different angle? He's the guy who walks into a status meeting and says, guys, I think we might be solving the wrong problem entirely. Now, for years, Alex looked like the far better, more reliable hire. But imagine AI suddenly enters their company. All of a sudden, drafting those reports, organizing that data, and answering those routine emails is automated. Alex's superpower, his robotic efficiency, is suddenly highly vulnerable. But Daniel's habit of asking why we are doing things and his deep understanding of why the work actually matters, that makes him incredibly hard to automate.
So that brings us to the absolute golden rule of this new economy. Do not, under any circumstances, try to compete with AI at the things AI was literally designed to do. If an artificial intelligence can process a mountain of information faster than you've got to let it. If it can whip up 10 rough drafts in the time it takes you to write one sentence, use it. If it can summarize a 100-page PDF in 3 seconds, hand over the document. Seriously. The biggest mistake you could possibly make right now is feeling like you have to prove you're somehow faster or more efficient than a machine at machine-like tasks. You aren't, and you don't need to be. Instead of competing on raw output or speed, you have to pivot. You need to become the person who knows what the machine should actually be doing in the first place. And that is a totally different and far more valuable skill set.
There's this quote that hits the nail right on the head. Technology gives you power. Judgment tells you where to use it. To really wrap your head around this, just think about a high-end modern camera. A camera today can take a technically flawless photograph. The focus, the lighting, the exposure, all calculated perfectly by the machine. But the camera has absolutely no idea which moment is actually worth capturing, right? A microphone can record a voice with crystal clear fidelity, but it doesn't know what words should be spoken into it. A computer can calculate a ridiculously complex answer, but it doesn't know if the question was even worth asking. Technology hands you immense power, but human judgment is the steering wheel. And as technology becomes wildly more capable, your human judgment becomes exponentially more valuable. And this whole concept feeds into a massive paradigm shift happening across the entire economy. We are rapidly moving from an era of information scarcity straight into information abundance. In the old economy, if you knew how to dig up information, research it, memorize it, and organize it, you had a huge upper hand. Knowledge was scarce. But today, AI is making information incredibly cheap. You can ask an AI for 10 startup ideas, 10 marketing campaigns, or 10 architectural concepts, and boom, you have them instantly. The bottleneck we face now isn't finding information anymore. The bottleneck is knowing which of that information actually deserves your attention. Because when everyone on Earth has access to the exact same instant information, your competitive edge shifts entirely to what you do with it. Your advantage becomes your lived experience, your unique perspective, your taste, and your weird ability to connect totally unrelated ideas together.
Which brings us to the one thing AI still completely struggles with: us, people. The ultimate human advantage is that we are inherently wonderfully messy. Humans contradict themselves constantly, we rarely say exactly what we mean, we make completely emotional decisions and then construct logical frameworks to justify them after the fact. A client might tell you they hate your software's new layout, but the reality is they just don't trust your company yet. A colleague might say everything's fine, but you can hear the sheer panic in their voice. AI is fantastic at processing literal text, but navigating these messy human situations requires context, emotion, trust, real-world experience, and actual relationships. That is exactly why soft skills like clear communication, deep empathy, and strong leadership aren't going extinct in the age of AI. They're actually becoming vastly more valuable, because as everything else gets automated, people are going to desperately crave and reward what feels genuinely human. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, okay, great, I'm a creative person, so my job is totally safe. Well, actually, hold on a second. Creativity all by itself isn't enough of a shield anymore. AI is highly creative right now. It generates stunning images, writes really compelling narratives, composes original music, and drafts entire video scripts. Just saying I'm creative isn't the flex it used to be. What truly matters now is taste. Taste is knowing exactly why one idea resonates and another one completely flops. It's understanding the deep, unspoken needs of your specific audience. It's the ability to look at 10 perfectly fine AI-generated options and have the human intuition to point at one and say, that's it. That's the one that feels right. AI gives you an infinite menu of possibilities, but you still have to be the head chef who decides what actually gets served to the real world. Right alongside taste, there is another meta skill you need to develop, and it might just be the most important one of all: adaptability. And I don't mean pretending to know everything. I mean the ability to learn incredibly quickly. Think back to that person who spent 10 years becoming the absolute master of one highly specific software suite. If that entire program gets wiped out by an AI update and their entire professional identity was tied to that one tool, they are in very serious trouble. But picture someone else, someone who understands the core underlying principles of design or human psychology or business strategy, and they've just figured out how to learn new tech on the fly. When one tool dies, they don't panic. They just shrug, adapt, and migrate to the next one. In a landscape where the tech is updating every Tuesday, this kind of rapid adaptability is literally the closest thing to true job security you can possibly find.
Okay, so how do we actually apply all of this? Let's get practical and do a step-by-step audit of your own daily grind. First things first, I want you to completely ignore your official job title for a minute. Just pretend it doesn't exist. Look strictly at your day-to-day tasks. Step 1, jot down everything you literally do on a Tuesday: answering emails, pulling reports, doing research, planning meetings. Step 2, ask yourself a really uncomfortable question. Out of all those tasks, which ones could an AI basically do today? Now, don't freak out. This isn't about predicting you'll be fired tomorrow. It's just about seeing which way the wind is blowing. And then we move to step 3, categorizing that list. Once you have your list, we're going to sort those tasks into 3 very distinct buckets. First up, tasks AI can just do on its own. For this bucket, your goal is to automate. Delegate it to the machine and get it off your plate completely. Second bucket, tasks AI can help you do. This is the augment bucket. You want to become dangerously good at using AI as your daily co-pilot to speed up and elevate this work. And finally, the third bucket, tasks requiring strong human judgment. This is the dominate bucket. This is where you double down. This is where your taste, your empathy, your network, and your strategic vision live. You want to strive to be absolutely unmatched at the tasks in this third category, because moving forward, this is where all your value comes from. If you actually follow this framework, your whole professional identity starts to shift. You literally become the person who grows more powerful because AI exists. Imagine a graphic designer who used to spend an entire day agonizing over just 3 logo concepts. Now, using AI to augment their brainstorming, they can spin up and explore 30 concepts in that exact same day. The AI drastically ramps up their output and their speed, for sure, but it is still their human judgment, their refined taste that dictates the final quality of the design they present to the client. A marketer can A/B test way more strategies. A coder can deploy apps faster.
The AI handles the heavy lifting and the volume, but you handle the direction. Ultimately, we really need to completely rethink what job security even means today. Do not build a fragile career around being indispensable in one highly specific, narrow role, because as we're seeing, roles can vanish overnight. Instead, build your career around being intensely useful in a wide variety of situations. Learn how businesses actually make money. Learn how human beings think and why they make the choices they do. Learn how to communicate an idea clearly and tell a story that gets people to care. Learn how to wade into a messy problem and solve it. And maybe most importantly, learn how to step up and take responsibility when things inevitably go sideways. These skills are portable. They travel with you. Even if your favorite software is sunsetted, or your department is restructured, or your whole industry turns upside down, your ability to think critically, communicate, and adapt, that will always be in demand. I want to leave you with a final, kind of provocative thought to chew on. Stop asking yourself the panic-inducing question, is AI going to take my job? That's just the wrong framing. Ask yourself a much better, way more empowering question. If AI could do my literal job tomorrow, what would still make a company want to keep me around? Whatever your honest answer to that question is, that is exactly what your next skill needs to be. And hey, if you don't have a solid answer to that yet, that is completely fine. You still have time to build one, because at the end of the day, the future doesn't belong to the person stubbornly trying to outwork the machine. The future belongs to the person who knows when to lean on the machine, when to ignore it, and most importantly, when a human needs to step up and take the wheel.